All right, good evening, guys. Okay, first up, the market. There are quite a few news happening, no, from last night. Firstly, we have this what you call the EU rescue package. Okay, groundbreaking stimulus plan, no, to fight coronavirus, and is a very big, no, um, almost nearly reaching $1 trillion. Okay, so this is the EU stimulus package, and US is also coming out another second stimulus package, which means to say up to a certain income they will give everybody like a monthly salaries or something like that. So this is a second stimulus from the US. Okay, so this is second news from yesterday, and of course, very late afternoon news. The Chinese consulate in Houston is ordered to close by the U.S. government. All right, so all these are creating a lot of uh, havoc in the global markets, and therefore there's this rise in the gold price. Okay, so gold, I've mentioned before past few weeks, that gold is on the uptrend really. It's going to bash through this resistance, and likely from what I've done the measurement, it should likely hit 2005 in time to come. Okay, so what happens is this is the main resistance about 1008 that I mentioned before. It broke through, and right now it's reaching or approaching its all-time high of roughly about 1920. Okay, so this is the weekly chart of gold. So you can see past few weeks have bashed through this 1008. So now it's trading about 1862. Okay, so this is the gold price. So because of the stimulus package, mainly the stimulus package, it has caused a lot of buying in the gold, and of course the devaluing of the US dollar. Okay, so this is the dollar index. It comprises of currencies from their 6 major trading partners like Japan, Europe, Switzerland, Sweden, 6 countries. So it's one. Okay, and from the sterling pound. Okay, so these are the composite for the US dollar index. So we can see from the chart here that the US dollar has been declining, and based on yesterday's announcement of stimulus package, the dollar index has dropped even further. Okay, so we can see the US dollar is weakening. So on top of that, the palladium it moved. Yesterday's rally. We have platinum. So most of the precious metal is running, because of the yesterday's announcement. And this is silver. Silver has one of the biggest rise among the 4 precious metal. Okay, so all of this is due to the second wave COVID. Some of the countries happening, Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, I think is some of the worst hits, having 100 over new cases today. Yeah, Singapore still mild. Okay, but we have to see how it turns out, because there's a 2-week latent period, and we have an election like 1.5 weeks ago. So we have to see, in the next 1-2 weeks, will our case jump up or not. So now, because of this late news that happened, it causes the market to come down during the afternoon. Okay, so you can see that the DAX traded down. You can see Hong Kong. Okay, Hong Kong traded downwards for the day, and surprisingly, the Chinese index still maintained. Okay, you had a rally, and then there's a sell down. Okay, so overall, I see that in the near term, it seems to be weak. Okay, due to all this news. But on the other end, The US market seems to be strong. Okay, this is the Dow Jones. Okay, it's still maintaining well. But we have to see tonight what happens once the market takes in all the news. So what happens for our Singapore market? Singapore market has been very weak. Okay, and today we have a down day for Singapore market. Okay, so at this moment, the Singapore Straits Times Index is trading at the bottom of the trading range. Okay, and this is not a good sign. No, most probably there might be more downside to happen. So we just have to be mindful on. I've mentioned you want to invest in the stock market. We have to continue to wait. The market is still very muted. I've been saying muted for the past 3 weeks really. Okay, so you can see it is trading in a very small range. So in the big cap stocks, it's not really a good stock uh, place to enter. Now, one thing I'd like to highlight is this the crude palm oil futures listed in Malaysia. So there's a recent uptrend in crude palm oil futures contract, which means to say that stocks like Wilmar had moved up. Yeah, you can see Wilmar moving upwards, trending upwards. And there are stocks like Golden Agri. Okay, Golden Agri Resource, the pattern to me looks quite enticing. All right, it's very quiet, and we can see recent there's a lot of volume, a lot of shares traded hands. Okay, so from weak hand to strong hand. From what I can see here, there's all this huge volume coming in. So I believe that might be some near-term strength in this few crude palm oil related stocks. So you can look into this. If you were to there's some strong buying volume coming in, breaking up this price roughly about 158, 160. You can consider taking a trade. But one thing is Golden Agri, their outstanding shares is a lot, so which means to say the movement tends to be sluggish. Okay, so stocks that move without me having to, I didn't really take this trade. Okay, this is AEM. Okay, I mentioned AEM for the past 2 weeks really. The electronic sector seems to be strong, followed by Nasdaq being very strong 2 nights ago. So the whole electronic sector, the AEM, HP, Electronics all move in tandem. Okay, so what we have here is today there is a inside day. Okay, a lot of trading happening, but it's good news is on lower volume. So hopefully you can see it trading sideways for a few more days, and hopefully break up above the high here, so they can do another uh, maybe capture another short-term trade, one long bar or two. Okay, so from here what I can see, previously I mentioned that this is a flag pattern. Okay, so once it does this, right, it tends to have a breakout. This is what we call a breakout. Okay, so yeah, so this is AEM. Okay, this is high P. So similarly, AEM broke off. High P also did a rally here, and today it tested its resistance here of 137. So there is a sell-off in the late afternoon. Okay, together with AEM and all the other stocks in the broad market due to the news of the China and US news. So we just have to wait for a few days to see how it turns out. See if there are people supporting the price. If there's a support, means you will trade sideways. That would be a good sign. Then we can look for um, a new trade to enter to go long. Okay, overall, we can see that high P is now trading above the 200-day moving average. So we hopefully this show some strength, and eventually turn out to form a new uptrend. So we can also look into possibly this company Hype to invest in, mainly because they manufacture electronic components for our Apple phones. So similarly for electronic manufacturers, usually is venture. Similar, I've mentioned 2 weeks ago, the whole electronic sector venture is big, but its movement tends to be sluggish. So despite the strong move by Nasdaq and all the other electronic sector, venture only did a small little move only. Okay, so this is just to show you guys. Hyphen Pharma. Oh, this is a previously it did this. I thought it was the end of it, and then thereafter it did one more big move, after it did this sell down. All right. So from this, it is hard to say for now how it turns out, because this rest day right has a lot of volume. We need to say a lot of people has already taken profit in this company. So we like to see how this one will turns out, and then we can decide from how to trade this again. Okay, one stock I'm really eyeing at. Thanks to a friend who highlighted this. This is Silver Lake Axis. Okay, it has done a very nice base formation at the moment. Okay, this base here with a high of 28.5. Today it tried to break out, but then because of news, it retraces back. So which means to say people are feeling jittery. They take profit, on this move. So there are news with regarding to this, which I think is quite exciting. This is Silver Lake Axis. They are coming out with some fintech platform dreams, to do help people to save and invest and reduce their debt. So this is somehow the dream platform, dealing in mainly Sweden, Norway, Germany. So what happens is that, based on this press release, right, they are using their subsidiary to partner with this company Dream, and to promote into Asia, Middle East, and Africa. So which is a big market for them, to be the exclusive distributor. Which means to say, the news come out in May, somewhere during this time. But then you can see that this is fintech. It require some time to code, to program, to launch the whole product to the market. So which means to say, 2 months has passed, or almost 3 months has passed, and I believe that probably they are going to launch the product soon. Therefore, there's this move happening. Okay, so we can look into investing in this. I would say, hopefully this new product is going to help turn this company around. Silver Lake used to be a company that I traded a lot in the past, but then after they had sold a profitable unit, that services the banking industry. Okay, I used to trade a lot of Silver Lake during this time. Okay, but after they have sold their unit off, the price has crashed and the company has not really done well. Okay, so hopefully with this new story, new subsidiary, new venture that's happening with Silver Lake, that this one will finally turn around for the company. Okay, so from what I see from this base is, this looks quite positive. Okay. Yoma strategic, mentioned this for quite a few times. The first time over here, second time over here. So now I'm going to mention it a third time. Firstly, because it's trading above the 200-day moving averages, and it seems to have a nice support here at 29, above the 200-day moving average. Okay, so what I can see is that they are buying. Okay, there are some volume coming in to buy the shares. The selling has little. Okay, so this type of consolidation, I would think, is quite a positive sign. And there are room to go for this Yoma. So what the story of Yoma is that they had a joint venture, or they're going to collaborate with N Financial to distribute financial services in Myanmar using their remittance services and branches. Okay, and we know N Financial is the biggest in China, and they are going to IPO soon in Hong Kong. So I think that will give a lot of publicity to the company, and especially to this Yoma in Myanmar. Okay, so we can also look into this to trade or invest for a short to mid-term trade. Okay, this is CSE Global. Previously, I've noticed this company somewhere around here, wanted to trade because it did quite nice. Then thereafter, China announced COVID. There's some selling. Okay, let's put it into perspective. Okay, so there's a lot of volume coming in, pushing the price up. Okay, and then as you consolidate, the volume is low. It's quite good. As they're buying, volume comes in. So when China announced COVID, what happens is there's a sell down, and then come March when there's the COVID again, I think they scrape the plan, and then they just sell off everything, probably a little bit profit or some cut loss or break even. This is the volume. You can see all the volume coming in, so they should have sold all over here. So what I can see is that there are volume coming in this day and this day, which means to say they might be looking to whatever plans they have for this company, they are coming back in again. All right, so at this moment, it's doing a nice cup handle pattern. Okay, the only downside is this particular bar has lots of selling. All right, so I'm not too sure, is it because of the US China, they want to scrape their plans again? I'm not too sure. So the main thing is we want to see some sideways trading, price maintaining above this 200-day moving average. So if it maintains sideways and inching upwards, then that will be a good sign, and you can look into a trade in this. So this is CSE Global, which I think the potential is there. First up is 57.5 from 57. So sorry, from a 50 cents or 50.5 entry, a 7 cents move for a short-term trade. Okay, so this is CSE Global. Okay, so this is one penny stock I'm eyeing. I'm looking at one of two penny stocks. All right, this is Progen. Currently trading 5.5, 6 cents. There's a strong move recently. Okay, and then there's a selling which has low volume. It's a good sign. So I'd like to see how this one turns out. Okay, at this moment it still looks very positive to me, and I need to dig up more information on what this company does and what's the news driving this run. Okay, so if the news is positive, we can look for a second run. For example, like what I did with IPS SecureX. Okay, so this is IPS SecureX, which I've traded previously. Because of news, they have some news coming in, and then they have a follow-up news later on, which I would say is the news is material in their coming results, which is going to release soon. So I just traded from this whole move only. Okay, so I'm trying to see how this Progen turns out. Okay, so this for penny stock lovers. In terms of all this trading, there are not much left to trade as the market is like cooling off or risk off because of the US-China tension. And so let's take a look at some of the big cap stocks, for example, like OCBC. Okay, so I've mentioned that this $9.10 to $9.20 is a big range, like support resistance. The market couldn't decide whether to go up or go down. So at this moment, it's just trading here and it's testing this trend line again, which is not a good sign because if we look it in an invert way, this is like a cup and this is a handle, right? So I can invert the scale so you can see it more in perspective. This is a cup, this is a handle. Okay, so which means to say um, it's a negative sign. If US is down and tomorrow market comes down, this is breakdown, then there will be more downside to happen. Okay, so this is the banks. The banks is helping to move. You move the STIE index. This is Singtel. Singtel also similarly having this high volume sell down previously. So as I mentioned, as it breaks this really, most likely it's going to resume its downtrend downwards. But it has been sluggish on the down move until today. There's this down move with high volume. So those with Singtel, you have to watch out your Singtel position. Okay, so this is DBS Bank. Similarly, having this pattern, come and inverted, come and handle pattern, and we have a down move today. Okay, breaking downwards. So this isn't a good sign for the whole Singapore index. Okay, so I'm not too sure what is causing this. Probably Singapore do not have a stand between US and China, or US China, and because I think closing a consulate is a very big matter to a country in terms of trade relations. Okay, so this is like a provocation for war or something. So we just have to be very careful with the market the coming weeks. Okay, so that's all. Do you guys have any questions or any stocks you want me to look at? Sorry, Bobby, you asked about Franken, right? Okay, what Franken had did was he had a nice rally yesterday because it's also electronic sector together with the rest of the electronic components manufacturing sector. So what happens is today there is a down move, there's a sell down in tandem with the rest of the market. So what we have is the good thing is there's lesser volume. All right. So in such a case, right, there is a higher chance or higher chance or likelihood that it will consolidate further, which means to say there might be further down move that will happen to form another consolidation. All right. So this is what I would think Franken will do. But in terms of uptrend, it has formed a nice uptrend, so-called establish a trend. So firstly, you have to see how this one turns out. If it retraces back, test is 50-day moving average or 200-day moving average, and then there's a rebound, we can look to invest in this company, Franken. Okay, so at this moment is overall picture on the midterm to long term technical analysis, right, is on the uptrend.